Alright, today I'm going to show you how to make a light painting stencil. So the first thing we need to do is open up a template that we will find on our P drive, Delmar digital photo, in the P drive in our photo demo examples, in our light painting stencil folder. It's called Light Painting Stencil Base. Let's go ahead and open that up. You will note that there are blue guidelines. You never want to put your stencil beyond these blue guidelines. You will note that you will need to click on your paintbrush tool over here. You will also need to have white over black on your foreground. You click on this little arrow, it toggles it back and forth. And you will need to note that the layers over here, you have a black layer with an empty layer on top. To add more layers, you'll just click on this little paper with the edge folded up, and that'll add a new layer. You want to do that every time you do a new stamp on your paper. Alright, so in a past tutorial we learned how to download ABR brushes from the internet and how to load them into our palette here. I'm going to pick a butterfly, and then I'm going to come over here, and using the bracket keys on my keyboard, I'm going to enlarge the butterfly, and I'm just going to stamp it. Now if you want that butterfly to be not as dark, like if you want to reduce the value tones, you can duplicate the layer and you will see that the value tones go lighter. Alright, we're going to rename these to butterfly, and this is butterfly 2. Okay, we want to make sure we always name our layers to keep it organized. I'm going to go ahead and add a new layer in, and I'm just going to stamp another butterfly, this time upright top, and I'm going to add that name, fly top right, and then I'm going to add another layer. I'm going to call it butterfly top left, and I'm going to come over here and going to stamp it. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to rotate these. So I'm going to click on our move tool at the very top and make sure my show transform controls is showing. Alright, and that puts a little box around this so that I can now rotate it. Go ahead and place it by clicking enter. Come down to my butterfly top right, and I'm also going to rotate that and click enter. Alright, so that is how you create a stencil using brush tools. You want to make sure that you use a good quality brush because they're not always very good quality brushes, so you want a nice crisp edge. If we look at this stamp tool here, we've got a really crisp edge, and you want to make sure that your stencil has that effect. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to take an image that you might find on the internet, such as this chain link fence. We need to work on this image a little bit. First of all, we need to crop it to the same size as our paper. We need to make it 8.5 by 11. So I'm going to come over here, click on my cropping tool, and I'm going to put in 11 by 8.5, and you can see that this starts to show some cropping lines, and I'm going to just click the check mark. So now it has the same dimensions that we need, but we're still not done. We need to add in a brightness and contrast layer, but we also need to add in an invert layer. So let's do that first, because what we want to do is we want to invert this. We want the background to be black because it blocks the light, and we want the chain link to be the brighter area because that's going to let the color come through. But this is still a little bit grayed out, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of brightness and contrast layer, add a little bit of brightness to this, and also a little bit of contrast. But I'm going to leave some of the value tones in there because that will add a nice effect when we go to do our stencil design. All right, so now it's time to copy and paste this onto our template. So what we need to do is come up to Select All and come over here to Edit, Copy, Merged. Really important that we do Copy Merged because it will copy all of these layers. You're going to come over here to Control C. That'll copy it, or you can go to Edit Copy. Now we're going to come to our stencil. I'm going to go ahead and turn these layers off so that we have a blank area to work with. And I'm going to go ahead and paste that in. All right, something didn't work, so maybe I didn't copy the merged layers. Let's see here. Select All, Edit, Copy Merged. Let's come back over here and go, there we go, now it's in. All right, so now I need to place this in here, and I'm going to move it up to the left corner, and I'm going to stretch this out, making sure I stay inside of that blue line. All right, and I'm going to click Enter. And that looks pretty good, nice crisp line on the stencil. So there we go, that is how we can take a photograph from the internet. This is actually some type of graphic from the internet, and just using invert and brightness and contrast, convert it into a stencil and copy it and paste it onto our base. Now I'm going to show you a third way to make a stencil. So here's a standard photo. And remember when we did the pop art assignment? We're going to use some of those exact same steps. So we're going to duplicate our background layer, and we're going to come up here to Image Adjustments, Invert. We're going to come here to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and we're going to change that to a 7. So you want to just type in 7 here. Now we're going to come over here to our blending mode, which for some reason I can't see right now, so I'm going to move the navigator over. I'm going to select Color Dodge. And now I'm going to come over here to my threshold layer, and I'm going to move this up to about 240, maybe a little higher. I want to show some nice outline. So now my photograph of my daughter has become a black and white image. So let's come over here and crop it for 8.5 by 11. All right, so that's going to crop for 8.5 by 11. I'm going to click OK. And now, in this particular image, you have to remember that wherever it's white, that's where the light's going to come through, and where it's black, that's going to be blocking the light. So maybe you want that area, the skin area, to be blocked by the light. So you have the option of doing an invert if you want to. So the only light that comes through is the contour, like of the lips and the nose, and the eyes and the eyebrows and the hair here. So this is the only area that your color from your color gel is going to come through, and the black area will be blocked by the flash, and so this will all remain white. So it just kind of depends on what you want to do. If you want the background and the skin area all to have color, and then you want the eyebrows and the eyes and the lips to be white because it's going to be blocked out by the light, that's also, an option. So then what you're going to do is you're going to come over here to Select All, and you're going to come over here to Edit, Copy, Merged. come back to your stencil. We're going to go ahead and turn this off. And we're going to go ahead and paste it on here. And I'm going to go ahead and adjust this. Now, I don't really want it, I really want my image to be more of a horizontal, more of a vertical rather than a horizontal. So I may do something a little bit different with this image. So if we come back to our original image right here, I think I will probably crop it slightly different. So let's come back on our history and let's go to our crop tool, and this time let's crop it for a much tighter shot on the face. Or yeah, let's crop it for a much tighter shot on the face. I'm going to select all. I'm going to come over here to edit, copy merged, and I'm going to come back to here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that layer and paste it in. And now I'm going to adjust it again. And this time I think it looks a lot better. It doesn't look, her face doesn't look so smushed. And there we go. That's another way you can create a stencil using a photograph.